We are on the land. It's our land, but we're only we're the shepherds of the land, you know. And this is one of the things, like, I'm an Austrian. Like, I don't have the connection with the Aboriginals, with the indigenous people. And really, if we're going to be, this is the trend, we need to thank and introduce ourselves with the appreciation of the Aboriginal people. I don't even know how to do that. But that's really important.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, I don't study regenerative agriculture. I'm a woman on the land, and I'm the truth. You know, I don't have to play it up. I don't play it up. I'm just out there, and I know if we have bare soil and we have rain, we're finished. I've experienced this. You know? But from the regenerative point of view, you know, being here is like all of my journey, that all of that has happened in my life is brought me here. Yeah. And it's meant to be. Definitely. I mean, I believe in God, you know. I don't have to run around preaching it or anything, but I know there's God, you know, because He's shown me many times, many times. And I think that, you know, with what I've been through, if we shut down our heart, we have shut down. If I can't have an open mind and an open heart, then I'm alone. I don't want to be alone. Yeah. I want to give, and I love receiving, and it's just great, you know. Yeah. But the earth, you know, there's a North American Indian saying, teach the children that like earth is mother, you know. And if we think that, because that's where everything comes from.
Yeah, and you protect your mum.
Well, you know, that's right.
Yeah.
And see, I'm not studied. I haven't done any of this, but it's just, I'm sort of thinking, well, maybe I'm not even eligible for this, you know?
No, you are, definitely. Everything you've already said. I'll be using, don't worry. Welcome to the yard in the back of the ute with Claudia, who thinks she's not eligible to be in the back of the ute. But as you've already heard, she's spot on. So we're actually here at Nutrition Farms, one of Graham Sate's apple orchards near Stanthorpe, with Claudia, and welcome to the back of the ute.
Thank you.
On your farm that you're managing. What can you tell us then? How did you end up here? So we'll just have to work backwards a little bit. So yeah. You've mentioned that you're from Austria.
Yes. So my first husband and I immigrated.
Yep. And
we bought our first farm out on Yuki Road, and we grew stone fruit. And we grew that from seed into the tree, and then we budded them all over. We got taught by the people that basically encouraged us to come in the first place, Ian and Sandra Ferris, and they're very special people. They were really, when we first got here, they were like my parents away from home. They were really, really good. And Ian was a very keen farmer, and we learned from him how to do all that, and we grew 10,000 stone fruit trees on that property. When then the marriage broke up, I had 2 children there, which are Tristan and Clarissa, and then that marriage broke up. And then after a while, I got remarried to Michael Sibley and had 2 more children, Ingrid and Sophia. And we have the property where Tristan and Jess, where you're going to go and see Tristan and Jess. That's our property now. And there we had some stone fruit as well. And then when Michael Sibley passed, we had to pull out the stone fruit because I couldn't do that. He pulled it out actually before he passed. And so then I went into grazing. So we have a boundary fence, but we didn't have really very much fencing done. So I started building from the yards out, and just built a holding yard, and then purchased cattle. And then I had another relationship with a proper fencing. So you talk about the universe, with a proper fencer. Right. And I've done fencing with him all over the place, like all through the district, and I've learned a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I know how to build fences, and cob and coat witches and all this sort of stuff comes in handy. And yeah, and I think that when my husband passed on the 1st of January 2011, we got rain like I've never seen in this district before. And he was already always really thoughtful about the rain. His father was always really thoughtful. See, when we're on the land, I think sometimes you get people and they go, people don't give a care about the land, and they're just farmers and they flog the land. Yes, some people do, but anybody really you don't have the earth if you don't look after it. It's as simple as that. Absolutely. Even with commercial farmers, they use sprays and they can do better and whatever, but still, they're still the farmer and they're still the people on the land, and they don't want their land to degenerate, really. Yeah. And so I think it's really like especially if people are on the same property for generations, it's like rooting into the earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the generation. Yeah. Like Michael Sibley and I, we built the house that you will see today, and we built it, and I was pregnant with Sophia when we chose the block, and we cleared the block. I was on the tractor pulling out the trees, and we cleared the block together, and then we got it built, and he was the helper with building it. He put every block on that house was carried by him to the site where the builder built it. Yeah. Every floorboard was put there, so there's a big connection. And even though he said, you should sell this property when he was really ill, he said, Claudia, you should sell this is your nest egg, and sell it and have a good life. Well, my good life is that I think that I've come to this country to buy land, and then when it gets a bit tough, I'm going to sell it. Then that's not the truth. No. So it's not about the money. It's about being there and having this family home that is like a rescue almost, even though they don't do it yet, but it's always there, and all of my family know, and they can come home at any time, and it's a place of peace. Yeah. And that's how I'd like to keep it. And when I die and they want to sell the whole thing, then that's what that is. I can't stop that. But my legacy is to keep it in the family and be peaceful about it. And the 4 children, how are they going to split up that property? I don't know how we're going to do that, but I hope that will sink in to is with them in their heart, that above all, it's not about the money, but having the land and looking after it, and doing the best we can. And that goes from the land and looking after it, keeping the soil together, always having a cover on it. Don't have bare soil. It's important. But
was it productive, or was it just purely for you guys to grow food?
It was so when Michael Sibley bought the property, it was just property. It had grown tomatoes. The Townsend, I think it was the Townsends, they had grown tomatoes there. But so there was old tomato ground, which tomatoes I think is one of the worst things to grow for the ground. Right. Like you grow a crop of tomato, and if you don't feed the soil and the earth after that, it's finished. Okay. Like it's really bad. I don't know how people can grow tomatoes again and again and again you have to really feed it. I think this soil in Stanthorpe and the area, if you don't have virgin soil, then basically it's like a hydroponic medium. Wow. That's how I look at it. And if you don't feed it and you don't look after it, it's like that with everything. But this is poor ground. Okay. This is not I think this isn't got. And see, I don't have the science behind me to say, like Graham would, it's got this, and you just have to put this in, and then all that comes out, wherever we grow can suck it up, Yeah, so I don't know that well enough yet to describe, but I know from experience of being a farmer and being on the land, if this soil here is very poor, it's very sandy, and it needs big time looking after,
So you're looking at it then, because you were trained as a chef.
Yes.
Or are trained as a chef.
Yes.
You don't work as a chef anymore.
Oh, I work wherever my life leads me. That's where I work. Clarissa and I started at Essen. I was going to build a commercial kitchen on my property, and I was discouraged by Tristan. He said, Mum, that's a lot of money putting out for a commercial kitchen, and then you might not have enough business. And then I thought about it, and it's worthwhile to listen to our children. Even though as a mother, sometimes it's like, yeah, well, you're actually my kid, but he said, look, Mum, you know, you were putting a really big investment in making a kitchen, and then how much catering are you going to do? Then you have to be committed to work really hard at that, and it's really hard. Off-site catering is really hard work, but I love it.
Because did Tristan train as a chef as well?
Yeah. So Tristan was training as a chef, and he'll tell you this because I don't want to take their story, you know.
Wow.
But Tristan became a chef right away in high school. So he started his traineeship at high school, and he's been a chef ever since. Tristan is very, very much, he sticks to what he does. He's a fabulous chef. Clarissa did other things, lots of other things, and then went into apprenticeship of chefing down in Melbourne. And she's a real goer. She's really capable. Also, you know, like they're fabulous kids, you know.
So when you took on the restaurant, the three of you were chefing in Essence?
No, Tristan was not in the picture at all.
Okay.
So it was Clarissa and myself. And then we had a chef come in at 5 p.m. and they would come, and then I would go front of house and be front of house. And I love it. Totally.
Now, just so that everyone knows, the reason I'm mentioning Essen Restaurant is because the only reason I know Claudia is because Graham Sate mentioned how amazing the food tastes at Essen Restaurant. So if you can, pop in there. It's a beautiful, it's an old style.
But yeah, it's an old house, which then was a shop. It was a corner store for a long time. It's got quite a history. And then it became a restaurant. I knew the first owner of the restaurant, Paddy and Howie, and I worked for them a little bit. And then they wanted to sell, and they said, buy it. But the time wasn't right for me then. You know, I still had the children at school, and a business like that, I mean, you have to be committed, you know. And I've got a 430-acre property at home, and at that time, Tristan wasn't anywhere near coming home, you know. So that just wasn't the time for me. But it was in the universe.
Yes.
I know when we put things in the universe, you put it in the universe and it is there, and it's almost like a fermentation, I think. You know, it's like, and then one day the opportunity comes, and then you got to go, yep, that's it now. And this is what happened. And the opportunity came. Clarissa was ready. Clarissa was, you know, that's a big step for Clarissa because she was an apprentice before that. You know, she finished her and then went into being a businesswoman. I mean, that's a huge step. And so I was basically really just her helper, and I did that for 2 years with her. And then Tristan came home with Jess. And in the meantime, in this whole process is where Graham and I connected. And then we already had our relationship. And then he kind of said, well, I need an agronomist. And I said, well, I'm not that, but I'm keen. He said, you've got the job.
So I've heard a fair bit about this orchard, and I've tasted the fruit on the orchard.
Yes.
And one of the things that I mentioned in the back of the ute with Graham Sate was about the fact that he wasn't and it isn't afraid of experimenting.
Yeah.
And I'm now here looking at these apples and seeing the coating that he's put on the apples. Can you explain?
Yeah, so this is a kaolin. It's just like a clay that we've put on. So basically this is a chemical-free orchard, and Graham will in no circumstance put any poison on it. So we've had some really hairy situations. It's really difficult because last year we basically lost the crop, and that is how we ended up with making the cider and the juices. And then Martin, the cider maker, made the cider, and it's come out really good. And it's a fabulous product, really is. Martin said, you know, you should enter the cider into the cider awards, and so Graham did, and we made a silver and a bronze for our first time making cider. Martin made it, but without the good fruit, you cannot make this product. And these are the pink ladies. And they are the last crop to be picked. The rest, we're picking the grannies at the minute.
Different species have you got?
So we start with the galas.
Yep.
And then we've got red delicious.
Yep.
And then it goes into grannies, and then from the grannies into pink ladies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many acres are here?
I think there's 18 hectares of apples.
Okay.
It's a big orchard. It's a big orchard, yeah. So last year we lost the crop, and then you can't just walk away from that. So we got lots of juice done and the cider. And so this year we are just, we've got 12 months under the belt, and we can't lose it again. So it was really difficult. 2 hailstorms to begin with, and
that's what this netting is.
Yeah, this netting in the back that's wrecked, and lots more. Some is a lot worse than this. The hailstorms first, and then wet. So when they first started farming, the first season we were in the big drought, so we didn't have any water.
Yeah.
And every year, and in my experience with stone fruit and all the different things that I've done in the past, there's never ever a season that's the same.
No. Do you find with that you have different pest pressure as well?
Different pest pressure, dry, hot, cold, wet, fungals, bugs, it's all there, you know. And so this orchard, I'm not sure before Graham bought it whether it hadn't been actually farmed for a year, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But there's a lot of codling moth, and I like apple farming is so new for me, you know. I'm like the codling moth and fruit fly are the two biggest problems. There's other problems, but they are the ones that ruined us last year, and this year we've got this.
Right. So yeah, what does the clay do then? Obviously coats the apples.
Yes. Well, we this is like he trials everything. I think this has helped keep the codling moth out. And you know, I'm not actually the farm manager. I'm just a business development manager. That's what Graham has made me, plus all the other hats that we have on, like whatever we need to do, whether it's you know, picking or packing the apples or mowing or whatever it might be. Yeah. It's just a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a woman on the land. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and then we need to somehow market all this, and that is because I'm apparently good with people. My job.
Brilliant. So does he come along and spray the whole tree, or is it you just place this on?
No. This is a big sprayer unit.
Yeah.
A proper orchard sprayer.
Okay.
And then so the farm manager is Adrian, and he's a fabulous guy, Adrian. He was a commercial apple farmer, and I'm not quite exactly sure the whole story, but he went to one of Graham's courses.
Okay.
And that's how they met. And then he did some selling of his product, I believe, and the relationship sort of grew.
Yeah.
And then he's managing this property.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, awesome man, Adrian. Yeah, really hardworking, 12-hour days, 6 days a week. It's unreal. Yeah. You know. But what I was also saying, getting back to the apples, when the pest pressure, so we've got an entomologist, and his name is Anthony. And we had a big infestation of codling moth or whatever it was, and he suggested to spray it. Just give it a light spray with some chemical, whatever that was. And it was suggested to Graham. He says, no way. You know, it's fabulous because that is a lot of money here.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like, you can't lose this crop.
No.
And now we've got it in the cold room, we've got to sell it.
Yeah.
And that's hard. There's so many apples. This is a huge apple season. Yeah. There's a glut of apples, so it's going to be really difficult. So I'm packing the first pallet now.
Wow.
Today, like yesterday and today, and yeah, so it's very exciting. But yeah.
And so with that topical application, plus obviously he must have done something with the soil.
Oh yeah. So when they first bought the property, see, this is a bit of an area that I'm not really completely across, but they put heaps and heaps of spray on the ground, like humics and Volvix and all these different things that they put in the soil.
And that will be all the NTS products.
All NTS products, most likely, yeah. But that's really an interview to ask Adrian.
Yes.
So this is just where I've ended up, and I'm feel very privileged. You know, I always feel very privileged. I wake up in the morning, and one thing my dad taught me, other than working hard, is to always appreciate. Yeah. To everything, always appreciate. You know, he always had sort of taught me to take joy in all things, in all the little things, and like my dog or my bed, you know. Like last night I was so tired, I was so happy to go to bed and put my head on that pillow. It was a big day yesterday.
Yeah. It's a different life, isn't it, on the land? You wake up every day, there's something different to do, but it's the same thing as in caring for the land. But it's not a job, it's just your life. It's
your life. Yeah, being on the land is a life. And I think that, you know, we're born and have our life, but we come from the earth. And when we die, we go back to the earth. where else are we going? So all those minerals that are within us go back to the earth. Yeah. And then, you know, however that might be, and then the animals come and graze, and it's all being uptaken, and it's really, really cool. But then it goes so much further. Like, do we really need to wash all these clothes today? Do we really need to put all that detergent into the water in the first place? You know, like, we can just think about it, and I think that's just so important, and people don't. I mean, I've had 4 children, you know, they got an undie, a fresh undie and a fresh pair of socks every morning. Everything else was sniffed. No, it's true. It's true. You know, if I had a sniff test, right? It's at the sniff test. Your shorts are fine. You know, take a new shirt.
Until you find something really dirty, and then you're like, what?
No, but I mean, it's not like they were ever dirty, you know, like they were never dirty. But it was just, there's so much, you know, it's so much excess.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think if we all of us, anybody that has some sort of thought, all we need to do is think a little bit.
Yeah.
Even when we shop less. Yeah. You know, make a little plan for it, so we don't have so much food waste. It's all about being thoughtful, really. I mean, I'm a lucky woman, you know. I'm lucky. I have a beautiful family and the earth, and I want to just. I think for me, it's basically all about love, and being thoughtful and caring. And just do the best I can do every day, and I'm just Claudia, that's it. Yeah. You know.
Thank you so much for taking out the time with all your hectic apples and everything to come and sit in the back of the ute with me.
I feel privileged.
Oh, well, thank you. I do too.
Thank you. I feel privileged to be alive.
Yeah.
It's really great. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tamsin.